Hey Flosstube, welcome to this special edition of Creative Whim Studio. I'm so excited today to finally be showing you the new releases for the Needlework Expo coming up March 6th through the 8th. It is a new virtual trade show. It's only open to shop owners and it is online and it's virtual, so I'll be in my studio the 6th through the 8th, and when someone comes in my booth, one of the shops, I get to say hi. So thank you, Janice from Noteworthy Needle, for putting this whole thing together because it's pretty exciting. It's something new. I hope that I hope a lot of people show up to it. I think it'll be awesome. Okay, so this is like you have to understand. I know I've said this before, but some of these patterns, charts that I'm releasing, you know, some of them have been in the works for a very long time. Some more recent, the more the merrier, that like within the last 5 weeks. So, but anyways, what I'm getting at is, you know, I design something and then I have to pull the floss and the linen, make sure it all works together. And there's a lot of times there's fidgeting around with that. And then I find a model stitcher that would like to stitch it. I send it off to them. They stitch it. I never give them a time frame that they have to have it done. I want them just to enjoy it. So I get it back from the model stitcher and then I decide when I'm gonna release it. And then it's, you know, scanning the stitched piece and creating the cover, writing the directions, and then fully finishing the piece. So it is actually a huge, huge undertaking, each one of these. And I'm not saying that because I'm not complaining and I'm not looking for, oh my gosh, I just want you to understand that all the designers, we all work really hard to present the best patterns that we can for you all to enjoy, and we are all very grateful for all of you that enjoy stitching, and I am indebted to all of my model stitchers for stitching my models for me. So let's get started. As usual, I'm starting with punch needle. I know you're all here for, not all, but most of you are here for the cross stitch, but I want to share with you Soul Sisters. So I created this punch needle in honor of my soul sister, Kristen Alexander. She is my very, very best friend, hence my soul sister. So basically, the two girls, I have my initials on one side, her initials on the other. So when you punch your very own soul sisters, you can change those letters around. This is created with all Weeks Dye Works except for one DMC. And how I finished it was, okay, so basically I trim off all the excess weaver's cloth and then I hot glue it to the back. And then I take a permanent marker and I color the weaver's cloth, because weaver's cloth is a cream color. I color it black with a permanent marker so that it doesn't show up. And then I hot glued Dames of the Needle, old copper penny mini pom-pom around it. This little box I got at Joann. I believe it's a Doris product. I don't even know if it'll open because just today I decided how I wanted to do this box. I painted it black and I was just gonna sand it and stain it, but I decided to do the Dixie Belle Rust Patina on it. So I used Dixie Belle, the iron, I painted that on, and then I sprayed on the patina and let it dry today. I did all of this today. I finished my last two today. So anyways, I know you're all gonna ask. Yes, I am going to have this available in cross stitch eventually, and I will have an alphabet so that you can put in your soul sister's initials. So that is my first punch needle release for March. I've already shown this before, I know, but this is my other punch needle release for March. This is called This Is the Day. So it reads, "This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." Psalms 118:24. This is a big girl. This is a really big girl. And I was going to reduce it down so that Kevin didn't have to have 2 sizes of weaver's cloth to cut. But God bless him, he came over yesterday from the workshop side, his side of the studio, and he came over and he said, "Teresa, I don't mind cutting a different size for this piece." He said, "Are you going to be doing more large pieces like that?" And I said, "Well, actually, I probably will, because I want to start doing punch needle of my angels. And in order to get the detail of the face and to get the face to look right, it's going to have to be fairly large." So he said, "Well, just do it at the regular size." So this finished piece measures 13.5 by 9 3/4 inches. So it's large. And I punched this, oh, I don't have it here with me. It's DMC, and it is Weeks Dye Works. So the background, which is a ton, is Weeks Dye Works Pecan. In there, I forget how many skeins I use. I don't have it right here in front of me, but a bunch. So pecan is not that variegated. So having, like, if I would do this over again, which I'm not going to because it's too big, but if I were to do this over again, I would use DMC, and I would use 2 or 3 different shades of the same color to get a little bit more interest in the background. I wish I would have done that, but I didn't. It's gorgeous the way it is. However, like I said, I would mix it up a little bit. So anyways, I will have recommendations on the DMCs that I would use. And how I would do that is I would punch around each thing, you know, with one color, a couple rows, and then do the second color, a couple rows, and do the third color. And you would get a lot of interest in the background by doing that. So this is the day. So those are my 2 punch needle releases for March. All right, let's move on to cross stitch. Here is Lindsay Halloween. This is stitched to 1/2 on 40 count linen. The stitch count is 80 by 117, and the finished size is 4 inches by 6 inches. This was stitched on XU Design 40 count dirty brown linen. It was stitched by Jan Kroon. Thank you so much, Jan. I absolutely love this. This is part of my Whimsy Chick series. I have a lot of not a lot. I have, I don't know, 3 or 4 PDF download only. They're only available in my Etsy shop as a PDF download of Whimsy Chicks. I have a ton of Whimsy Chick sketches, a lot of Halloween. So anyways, you'll be seeing more of this fun style. And you gotta zoom in on the kitty. Look at that face. So the Whimsy Chicks are just that, whimsical. For all you farm lovers out there, next we have Rise and Shine. Okay. I forgot to mention, on Lindsay Halloween, that black frame is just something that we had from way back in the day when we had Primitive Folk and we used to frame my watercolor prints and sell. So it was just painted black. I did grungy it up, I sanded it, and then just went over it with some raw umber, thinned down acrylic paint to give it kind of a stained look. Okay, so Rise and Shine. Stitch 2/2 on 35 count linen. Stitch count 96 by 133. Finished size is 5 5/8 by 7 3/4. It was stitched on Weeks Dye Works Corn Silk 35 count and was stitched by the one and the only Claire, a Claire Stitching Post in Vermilion, Ohio. The way I finished this piece, sorry, I'm trying to stay organized here. This frame I got at Hobby Lobby. The US or the UPC number is 1919075. I love it because it looks like barnwood and it's really grungy. And then I took the stitched piece and I adhered it to sticky board, and then that red fabric is some fabric that I designed for a patriotic collection back in the day. But it just really brings out the red of the barn and then the red on the chicken. And it's so perfect in that frame. Next we have Rejoice, Rejoice Snowmen. Give you a little zoom. Okay, stitch 2 over 2 on 32 count. Picture this plus Mystic linen. Stitch count 85 by 112. Finish size is 5 1/4 by 7. Stitched by Vicki Noel. Thank you so much. And this has Weeks Dye Works and DMC in it. And how I finished this one with a Hobby Lobby frame. 50% off. Never buy a Hobby Lobby frame at retail price. So all I did was adhere the stitched piece to sticky board, and then I hot glued it to the frame. On top of the frame, as you can see, I did not, it's too big to fit inside of the frame, so I just hot glued it on top of the frame. There you go. Boy, that Mystic linen, I use it a lot, don't I? But it's so perfect for like a midnight blue sky. It's just the best. All right, so next we have, it's part of the Moo the Merrier collaboration. So I mentioned this in my Flosstube video. I'm not gonna go over it again because I explained it in really good detail on my last Flosstube video. Flosstube 108, I believe. So I'm not going to go over that whole thing again, but here it is. I love this so much. This is Pennsylvania Dutch Farm series, Heifer. So this is the first of a series. I'm going to have 4. There's a chicken, a lamb, and a pig. But I might do a goat and a donkey. So it's going to be 4 or 6 in this series. So basically the center circle will have a different animal and probably a different background color, but they'll all be stitched on the red linen. All right, so this one stitched on, it was stitched 2 over 2 on 32 count Sweeney linen by Dames of the Needle. Stitch count 60-60. Finish size 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And it was stitched with all DMC and stitched by Kathy Lounsbury. And Kathy makes beautiful project bags, so check her out. I will have a link below in the description box. How I finished this, again, this is a Hobby Lobby frame. I was looking for a number. There's so many numbers on the back, I never know which one it is. So, but it said, okay, so the frame was just like a wood color. Then this black part was cream color, and it said, and it had H-O-M-E. It said home on it. Okay, so that's what you're gonna be looking for. All right. I didn't take it apart because the way the back is, it's not one of those, it's not like a picture frame where you can take it apart. It's actually like with a little nail gun is attached in there. So I carefully painted the background black, and then I painted this a barn red to match the fabric, and then I sanded it and went over it with some raw umber to make it look stained. And then the stitch piece, I just adhered it to sticky board and then stuck it in the center of that, and I think the color matched perfectly, and I think that's a super cute cow. Next we have Psalm 91:11. Stitch 2 over 2 on 32 count linen. The linen is XU Designs charcoal. Stitch count 151 by 111. Finish size 9.5 by 7 inches. Stitched with all DMC and stitched by Daisy Tolson. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Daisy. I love this. I've had this charted for a long time. Finally got it out there and got it done. And the finish on this, this frame could not be more perfect. Well, okay, it could be more perfect. The only thing I don't like is that the wording is so close, and I couldn't move it over more because there's a black star over here. So I centered it. Everything's showing though, nothing is cut off, so that's good, but it could have been a little bit better. But it's the detail on this tin, this is tin, matches the dress on the angel. It's just perfection. And then this gray color, that's how it came. The only thing I did change on this frame is this tin was white, and it was competing, it was too bright. It was competing with the stitched piece. So I just went over it with raw umber, thinned down acrylic paint, and just painted it on and just dabbed it off in spots and made it look grungy. So thank you, Hobby Lobby, for having such awesome frames. So we have a new angel to add to our Work of Heart series, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to present to you Peacemaker. Peacemaker is stitch 2 over 2 on 35 count Weeks Dye Works parchment. Am I holding that center pretty good? Okay. Finish size is 9 3/4 by 9 1/8, and the stitch count is 168 by 159. Stitched by the amazing Matthew Penton, and it's all DMC. This frame is also Hobby Lobby. I have one of my other angels framed in this exact same frame. It was the one I released in Command. I think that was last March 2020. But it works so perfectly with the angels because of the scallop border. It just mimics the scallop in the wings. This piece says, "This is us," or something. "I love us," or "This is us," or something on it. So I was just gonna paint it like a turquoise color. And then I decided, why do just a turquoise color when it would be more interesting to have some sort of design on the background? So I painted flowers in the background, and it was a really bright turquoise. I didn't like that, so I whitewashed it. And then it was still too bright, so I ended up going over it with, what? Raw umber. Watered down raw umber just to tone down the brightness, and it worked out perfectly. Again, I adhered the angel to sticky board. Paula, I know. I know Paula's cringing when I say that. And then I used Dames of the Needle Noir Mini Pom Pom to go around the edge, which mimics her collar. I just love how it turned out. And I'm really glad that I took the chance and painted this with some flowers just to give it more interest. So Matthew is an amazing stitcher. I mean, this is confetti stitching. This is full coverage except around the angel. And I asked his mom, I'm like, do you think he'd want to do another intense piece like that? Or, you know, maybe I can send him something else that's, you know, not so complicated. So she said, well, he wants to see what you have in mind. So I sent him a picture. It's called Madonna and Child, and it's Mary and Baby Jesus. And when he saw it, he said, yeah, I want to stitch that. So he is stitching that right now. So I'm excited. Whenever I can find someone that wants to stitch confetti stitching in full coverage, I'm like, yes. and he, you know, look at that job. Look at that job he did. So nice. Also, at the end of this, if I remember, I am going to hold up the supply list for each of the designs. I should have done that probably as I went. Anyways, that way if you want to start collecting the linen and the floss colors, then you can go ahead and do that. Okay, next we have Fractal. I love Pennsylvania Dutch. I love Fractals, and I love this piece. Just love it. It's just really, really different for me, but I just wanted to capture the look of a Fractal. So this is stitched 1/2 on 40 count linen. The stitch count is 171 by 217, measuring 8.5 by 10.5 inches when it's done. It was stitched on Picture This Plus Legacy and stitched by Karen Simmons. Karen, she's been on fire. That girl has stitched so much stuff for me, and I'm so grateful for her. I'm grateful for all my stitchers. Are you kidding me? They're all amazing. So this was, whoopsie, why is it? This is framed by, who do you think framed this? By Paula from the Craft Gallery in Findlay, Ohio. I love the frame. Perfect. It's such a nice little size. This is a very doable little sampler style Fractal. You know what? Instead of holding up those pieces of paper, I'm just in the description box below, I will have a link where you can go and get the information you need. It would be easier for you too than to try to do a screenshot when I hold up the paper, not to mention how boring to hold up the paper. Okay, the grand finale, and you know, like at fireworks, when the grand finale is always the best part of the fireworks show. Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is the best part of my new releases. Okay, this is called, whoa, this is an original sampler that I designed called Come to the Garden. Excuse me. Stitched 1/2 on 40 count linen. The stitch count is 225 by 295, measuring 11.25 by 14.25 inches. It was stitched on 40 count, handmade by Stephanie, colonial parchment. This was stitched with 4 different linen companies. We've got Classic Colorworks, DMC, Gast, and, well, it's Gentle Arts, and Weeks Dye Works. So the pattern, stitched by Karen Simmons, she also stitched Fractal. And this was framed by Paula at the Craft Gallery in Findlay, Ohio. So on this particular, now this will be in a sampler book. Fractal will just be, you know, in a bag with the papers like most of my charts come, but this will be in a sampler book. And I had an extra page in there, so I thought, well, I should write a little bit of the inspiration for this piece. So I'll read that to you now. Oh my goodness, my arm's getting tired of holding this up. But I love this frame. This frame reminds me of like an old fence you would have in your garden that's weathered and worn. And I just thought it matched perfectly. So what happens is Paula will, when she gets my samplers, she picks out, you know, 3 or 4 different frame choices and emails them to me, and then I get to go from there, which is still hard to tell because you're looking at just a corner piece and it's, you know, through my phone or email. It's just, you never know for sure, but I know I can't go wrong with Paula. So anyways, when I got this, I was like, you gotta be kidding. It's so perfect for this piece. All right, so I'm gonna read to you, zoom in on it. Okay, Come to the Garden is an original sampler inspired by my love of gardening. We have several garden beds surrounding our home in Michigan. Kevin and I enjoy working in the gardens together. My favorite reward is the color of the flowers. I always think only God can paint with such vibrant colors. The phrase, "Thy senses will be overjoyed," is how I feel when walking through a garden. Whether it's a flower garden or a food garden, I find joy in seeing the beauty, smelling the flowers or ripeness of the fruits and vegetables, touching the dirt or soft leaves and petals, hearing the birds sing and the bees buzz, and finally, tasting the sweet prize of our labors. So that was my inspiration for this piece. And of course, there's an angel in it. I mean, come on, you got to have an angel looking over your garden when you're not around, right? So that's it, guys. So that was 8 cross stitch and 2 punch needle patterns for our March release. Kevin has been working his tail end off, getting inventory built up so that we're ready to ship. And also I've been working my tail off, writing the instructions and fully finishing everything. So we're so grateful for all of you. You are able to contact your local needlework shop, your LNS, and let them know what you want. I have already sent them an email showing them everything that I'm releasing, so they're aware of it. You may even have seen them post it on their website. So I told them to use the photos I send them, you know, for their website or their social media. So anyways, that's it. I am so happy, and I can't wait to see how the expo goes. I'm really excited about it. So thank you guys again for being here and watching me present all this to you. And again, I love you, model stitchers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I could not do this without you. I mean, think about it. I'm just starting to stitch myself. So if I had to release only what I stitched, I would probably come out with 1 pattern a year. So much gratitude to all of you. All right, take care. We'll see you this Saturday.